Hey, 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 happy Friday, ChiroSushi land. Oh man, I have the gentle giant, Dr. Dwayne Hoskins, with us today. How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing exceptionally well, Tristan.
You are the gentle giant of chiropractic and tick, man. We're gonna have a great discussion today. But first, I want to jam real quick on Titronics that blew up at Sushi. Had
Yeah.
great feedback for your booth and
Mhm.
people getting entertained. And really, the discussion we're talked about today, man, is are you working with your brain or are you really just a mechanic? And I think you dig that because you get
Yeah,
where that goes with it, man. Because
absolutely.
just share with me what feedback you got from sushi people that never maybe experienced or knew about Titronics.
Well, a lot of them had never heard of uh, spinal thermography, which is amazing because it's one of the older technologies in our profession.
Yeah,
It was, you know, the first um, device was patented by Doss Evans in the 1920s.
right.
So it's one of the oldest technologies that chiropractics use and chiropractic has used. So to have people, new graduates, old graduates, like, oh, I never thought about thermography for the spine, just blew my mind. Absolutely blew my mind.
I think more importantly, it kind of blew their mind back.
Yeah. So Titronic's been around since the '80s, and it's the gold standard in chiropractic spinal thermography. And
Right.
so the response we had is, oh, I love my 5 scanners, or I want to do this with my 7 scanners, or I'm opening next week and I've got 2 scanners already. And how can I make this better? So the feedback was extremely positive. The thing I loved about sushi was people came there to do business. It
Yeah.
just always freaks me out when people go to a convention. They know there's vendors going to be there, vendors make the event more reasonable price, and yet they walk by with blinders on. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. And I just chuckle. I've gotten past that long time ago. I just chuckle and I was like,
Well,
I don't want
I'll
to sell.
speak
I
on
don't want
that,
to
man.
sell you
That
anyway.
that's kudos to you because full disclosure, we've had two events, and I've now had 2 years of feedback, and things in the vendor area this year weren't perfect and ideal, and there's some things leading up to that with the hotel that we're dealing with. But I always believe, and I was talking about this with Jennifer Trent the other day. Um, you know, you worked your booth.
Yes.
And this is the same thing. When you're at DE, you work your booth, and so you make use of the opportunity that's being presented to you. And this is the beautiful thing about Dwayne, guys, in chiropractic. If you guys don't know Dr. Hoskins, you should connect with him because philosophy genius, just overall good guy, mentor, friend. But there's people there that I had that were on one side who I know they're not. I've heard through the grapevine, never coming back here. This is a horrible show. And then literally right next to him, the same guy's going, dude, I killed it this year. It was awesome. So it all comes down to mindset, how you deliver. And I look at the two people next to each other. One of them is actively entertaining, calling people over, saying, hey, I got to check this out. The other one's sitting there at the table like this with their head down, right?
Yep.
So
Absolutely.
that's up to that's just an overall thing for anyone out there in the Cairo land who goes out and they tell me, oh, I don't like screenings or I don't like going out to events and I don't like doing the garden shows. You just don't like people. Let's just be honest.
And I was going to say the thing. If you don't like doing those, it means you don't like people. Because if you go to those and just love on people, it's like, hey, just come over here. I got free water for you. Hey, come over. Or good to see you. I'm glad you. How you enjoying the show? I mean, just if you just love on people, you'll get the people that are interested.
You
The
just love
last
on
thing I
people.
would do is waste somebody's time at a booth.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
You guys did really well because you're great at educating. I want to talk about this because this has really been coming up for me a lot and understanding why I feel that Titronics is so important for a practice. And I'll give you my 2 cents and you give me it back. Um, my feeling is that I think a lot of chiropractors go in with the intent to love and serve and be the alternative health. And hey, those are the bad guys over there. The bad guys, though, the reason why they're always put on the pedestal, and you've worked in locations where you've worked and collaborated, not integrated, but I like to say collaborated, which is different.
Yes.
The one thing about medical MDs or anyone in that nature that I do respect and say that they do a better job is they work with their brains more than they work with their hands. And this comes down to the importance of, like, when we talk about Sean Dill and other people in philosophy who are saying, hey, man, it's about the check, not about the adjustment. It's about analyzing and then correcting, right? And the portion is we got a lot of people in this profession that are just about the adjustment, which is no different at times if you're just serving up the adjustment, just doing a flying seven, than someone going and saying, let me get a prescription for this. And the
Exactly.
cool thing about Titronics is it gives you a position to be a scientist and work with your brain, which is more respectful than working with your hands in most cultures. That's what I see, and that's why I feel that a lot of chiropractors get down because they're just like, I'm just a plumber now. I just do. Well, you made it that way. That's
Yeah.
not. There's a lot of data and science. You could be the data and science person. Throw it back over to you, my friend.
Well, and you're exactly right to a point. I've always said we can teach a blind rhinoceros how to adjust. But it's the training of when not to adjust and what to adjust and how to adjust. It's the
Right.
key skill set. Um, and I've always held that, and I've always felt that. That's why having a multitude of tools makes you a skilled expert. If you just have a framing hammer, you're just a framer.
Yeah.
If you just have a ditch digger, that's what you do. When you're a professional in our field, you need to have several tools.
Right.
The neat thing about Titronics, it's an assessment tool that's electronic that gives you instant feedback. The only other, there's no other class of assessments. When I mean class, I mean like X-ray gives you an immediate picture, but that picture is only good for that day to tell you what's going on that day. Now, I know up cervical, we can get listings and we can see trends and we could do that, but that doesn't tell me what happened before and after the adjustment.
Yeah.
Heart rate variability, that it doesn't give you a before and after picture. That's a long term. How am I doing overall?
Right.
Um, Thermography is the only thing that gives you instant feedback before and after. How is the client before? Is it are they in pattern or are they adapting? Adjustment takes place. How are they doing now? It's a completely objective mathematical thing that validates to the client that what I did had an effect, and this is the long-term effect by showing multiple scans. So I think it's an invaluable tool at about a 10th to a 20th the price of a good X-ray suite.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, talk to me about when someone's using it from a communication aspect with,
Mm-hmm.
say, family members. I think the cool thing is, husband and wife come in, or maybe you got, we still have culturally in this world where if I'm going to make an investment, there is still that standard in some communities where, a woman 35 comes in, is dealing with issues, migraines, hormone issues, and they're like, I've tried everything. Chiropractor does, hey, here, let me show you the scan. Or in a different office, they don't have Titronics. The competitive advantage that someone with Titronics, I think, is huge because you can show visually to a lot of people who learn that way, and show the partner who might be the one saying, hey, I'm your double check. I'm your backup to know if this is BS or not, right?
And everybody understands temperature.
Yeah.
I mean, if you ask anybody what the body temperature is, they're going to tell you 98.6 Fahrenheit. And that's clear on the graph. Sometimes you're warmer than that, sometimes you're colder than that. But when they see the temperature varying as you go up the spine, and they see that graph before, and then they see you work on their loved one, and then you do a scan afterwards, and they see a change, a drastic change in crossing over of lines, they're like, okay, what he did caused an effect, or what she did caused an effect that's undeniable. And it just adds objective credibility to the event.
Yeah.
And it
Well,
reinforces their experience.
I was really blown away. We were at Money Matters earlier this week, last week, and the specific centers were just getting off of their trip to El Salvador, mission trip, and I kind of was playing the whole like, wait, I thought you guys don't correct without data and checking. I go, Bill Trevins, we went to, I think Bill Trevins went down to Dominican Republic with us, and he wouldn't work on on anyone because he didn't have his equipment with him. And I'm going, what do you guys mean by equipment? And Sean's like, hey, we bring our Titron units down. I mean, you can bring them anywhere,
Yeah,
and you can just go. And I'm like, that's cool.
yeah. The technology is, like I said, I mean, it's 100 years old. Um, and we've refined it to where, it is portable like that. It runs off whatever USB power is available, and you can just go with it. As long as your laptop has power, you can scan wherever you want. You can take solar panels out to the middle of the Mojave Desert and scan out there in whoever shows up on their dirt bikes.
Who is Titron's ideal client in target market?
It's going to be somebody who understands the absolute horror that vertebral subluxation is in a body. Somebody who's really concerned that that is what we do, and that's what we need to locate, and that's what we need to help the body fix. It's somebody who understands that educating the patient for the long term is more important than just getting them to sign up for a few snap, crackle, and pops. And it's somebody who enjoys educating and communicating truth, value, and truth and value to their community.
Yeah, got it. Um, right now, if you guys go over to, we have the link above. You can go to Titronics, and Dwayne actually made a specific landing page for ChiroSushi peeps with some extra discounts thrown in there. Um, I want to ask you about. I have seen recently videos of some chiropractors in Gonstead,
Mm-hmm.
particularly using the old school, like the old school way, which
But
looks really cool.
yeah,
What would you say to that doc who's like, hey man, I love this?
yeah. Well, and interesting, Gonstead is one of our larger partners
Right.
in moving scanners. They see because it's the same technology. It's temperature. They're using the NCM, the neuroclimeter, uh,
Yeah.
because they're trained to look at the spine while they're looking at the dial. And they're looking for that instantaneous peak for heat or cold, and then they mark it, and then they move on up.
Yep.
Um, so their training doesn't. It's their training and their preference to be looking at the spine while they're looking at the temperature dial.
But
Well,
I would imagine that Titronics would help them be more efficient and effective, right?
no, because
Uh,
they'd have to look at the screen
oh, okay.
and then look back, and so it adds a level of difficulty and it actually takes away some of the precision that they're used to. We are
But
looking at putting a dial type or an LED readout on the top of our scanners so that we
oh
can cross
wow.
the bridge. So the thing with the NCM that Gonstead uses is that data is lost once it's taken. It's not
Yeah.
recorded anywhere.
Yeah.
If we can merge their preferences and our technology, we can record it at the same time. So
Well, I
now
think
you
that
know.
I think that was huge what you just did there,
Yeah.
man. Because any other, you could walk down the rabbit hole of other sales organizations who would be, yes, Tristan, your answer is right, and Dwayne's like, no, dude, actually, this doesn't. I feel like this is
No,
one thing you guys got to respect about this dude. He's just gonna tell the truth. He's just gonna tell the truth.
I've got too much stuff going on to remember all the lies I might tell, so it's just easier to tell the truth.
Well,
But
man,
no, I
yeah.
mean, the current NCMs are amazingly intricate devices, and they're very sensitive. It just doesn't keep a record. And so, if we can marry those two together, we would have a tremendous usable thing for the Gonstead Methodology Institute people and members, and anybody that follows that protocol.
And I want to just say this: so you do have full spine chiropractors using Titronics as well, not just upper
Definitely,
cervical,
yeah.
right?
Right, and that it's designed for both. You can do a full spine scan. Didn't think that would be a tongue twister, or just a cervical scan, and it automatically reads the distance that the scanner travels and adapts the graphs accordingly.
Got it, man. Well, Dwayne, always love having you on, dude. We're gonna have Dwayne on again next month. We're gonna be talking about some other cool stuff Dwayne does. as well outside of Titronics, because if you guys don't know, he didn't want to talk about it today, but I did. So I'm going to give him a love and shout out for his Pure Chiro Notes, which is also a great cash-based EMR. Just want to share that. This dude's doing some good stuff, and he's a great connection to have, mentor, friend, colleague, looking for help with philosophy, looking for help with going down the road of business and technology. So he's a great technologist in this space. And he's all about the tick, man. So Lena just said, can't wait to have you at the FCS. What's that?
Yeah, I can't wait to go there. That's going to be phenomenal to be down there.
Yeah, man. Well, we love you over at Sushi, dude. Anything we can do, let us know. We're big
Appreciate
supporters of Titron over here. We know that it makes you the smarter one in the room when it comes to displaying and communicating what chiropractic's about. And I think that's really important. Thanks, man.
All right, man. Love y'all.
Love to be. Bye.